Look, as I always joke, I'm Jew-ish.
Throughout his campaign, Republican Congressman-elect George Santos would refer to himself as half Jewish or a Latino Jew, often telling his grandparents' story, how he says they survived the Holocaust as Ukrainian Jewish refugees, records from the Holocaust Museum, and the International Center on Nazi Persecution, which keeps records on Jewish refugees, show no mention of Santos's grandparents. One genealogist who helped research Santos's family tree at CNN's request said there's no sign of Jewish and or Ukrainian heritage and no indication of name changes along the way.
I'm so proud to be able to keep our family going forward and showing that not only did we survive, but now I'm able to go advocate and fight for other Jewish people.
Other Jewish people, which he is not a part of. So this New York Congressman-elect Santos, who's facing numerous accusations after lying about his resume and background to voters. For the last couple of days, he's held his silence, but now has finally spoken out in an exclusive New York Post interview. Here is what he had to say. I am not a criminal, Santos said at one point during his exclusive interview. This controversy will not deter me from having good legislative success. I will be effective. I will be good. And there's so much more we need to get to, but I just want to pause here for 1 second because first of all, I will be good. What are you 12 years old and you just got scolded by your mother? What is that?
It's also like 16-year-old cheating boyfriend. I'll be good. I'll be good. No, I've changed. I'll be good. Now that you've caught me doing the horrible stuff, it's so stupid. I'm ready to move on. Like, what a weird gaslighting framework for like coming clean. You know, you've lied a lot when the New York Post is like, listen, this is too much for me, bro.
I also love that he's like, I lied a million times about every little detail of my life, but I promise you I'll be a good legislator. That's not a lie.
Like, you'll be an average politician. I get it. You made stuff. It's so ridiculous. I don't know what, like how, I don't know exactly the numbers at this point, but how hilarious would it be if like they forced him to retire or to step down and resign, and then the governor gets to appoint a replacement for him and it flips the House. How hilarious would that be?
That would be awesome. So we talked a little bit about the extent of his lies, so let's get into more of his defenses of those lies. He said, my sins here are embellishing my resume. I'm sorry. Santos confessed he had never worked directly for Goldman Sachs and Citigroup, chalking that fib up to a poor choice of words.
I chose all the words that weren't true. I just chose different words, most of which, when strung together, are the opposite of the truth, but I never lied.
So his defense as to how he poorly chose those words, his lies, was that he now claims instead that a company called Linkbridge, where he worked as a vice president, did business with both of the financial giants. I will be clearer about that. It was stated poorly, Santos said of the lies. So some other things he lied about. He admitted that he never graduated from any college, despite previously claiming to have received a degree from Baruch in 2010. I didn't graduate from any institution of higher learning. I'm embarrassed and sorry for having embellished my resume, he said. I own up to that. We do stupid things in life. Santos, elected to Congress on November 8th to represent the Long Island and Queens-based 3rd District, was also accused of lying about his family history, saying on his campaign website that his mother was Jewish and his grandparents escaped the Nazis during World War II. Santos now says that he's clearly Catholic, but claimed his grandmother told stories about being Jewish and later converting to Catholicism. So as you saw in the first video, his excuse for saying he was Jewish was that he never actually claimed to be Jewish, Santos said. I am Catholic because I learned from my maternal family had a Jewish background. I said I was Jew-ish.
Listen. You know he's so full of it when he pretends that he came up with the I'm Jewish joke. Like most Jews are Jewish. Like most of them are like eating bacon. Us, I'll say, so I'm a half Ashkenaz, where you would like be eating bacon and going like, it's not even a cheat day. I do this all the time. Like sorry, I didn't know that Santos was Catholic. We don't do saints in the Hebrew faith.
It's just, I mean, it's such an egregious thing to lie about, because he also like connected the Ukraine war sort of into it, because he's like, not only were they escaping the Holocaust, they're also from Ukraine, so I have that connection too.
It feels like that's, as he's describing his resume, it's like that scene in Mrs. Doubtfire where she just looks, or he looks down to the newspaper and goes, doubt. Like, what else is in the headlines? I'm Ukrainian. I also just got dropped off at Kamala Harris's front porch, and I am a war on Christmas. It's so stupid. I like, embellishing your resume is when you say like you're expert at Final Cut when you're just proficient in Final Cut. You don't want, but this guy is like, I am Final Cut. I invented Final Cut. I also am Steve Jobs.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people were caught on to his lies. One person who didn't was Glenn Greenwald, who hyped up Santos in a tweet, which he deleted soon after. So let's take a look at that tweet. He said, meet George Santos, the first ever Brazilian American and first ever openly gay Republican elected to Congress in US history, the son of working class immigrant parents who left Brazil for the US. Congressman-elect Santos was born and raised in Jackson Heights, Queens. I mean, it was, all right. I don't even know if his name is Santos at this point. This man is a prolific liar, but it is funny that he would just sort of latch onto those lies and hype up this notorious liar.
With like the most identity politics tweet ever.
Yes.
Like, Glenn, I thought you were against stuff like this.
only when it's used by liberals, not if it's used by Republicans. Okay, but some more of his lies. He claimed he had some financial issues that were pretty sketchy when you looked into the details of them. New York Times reported that Mr. Santos acknowledged that a string of financial difficulties had left him owing thousands to landlords and creditors. But he failed to explain in the interviews how his fortunes reversed so significantly that by 2022, he was able to lend $700,000 to his congressional campaign. And the last one, and I think the funniest one, is that despite claiming that he's been an openly gay Republican for the past 10 years, he had been married to a woman in the past. So Mr. Santos, the first openly gay Republican to win a House seat as a non-incumbent, also acknowledged owing thousands in unpaid rent and a years-long marriage he had never disclosed. I dated women in the past. I married a woman. It's personal stuff, he said to the Post, adding that he was okay with my sexuality. People change. So I'll just say he claimed on his website that he had been openly gay for a decade. Last time I checked, he got divorced in 2019, and that wasn't a decade ago. The math is not mathing. But I think ultimately what's the most concerning is how easily journalists were able to uncover these lies and how weak the DCCC was, and how it seems like they didn't try at all with their opposition research to prevent him from getting elected. I mean, it's pathetic.
Yeah, they just make calculations about like what they're willing to give up. There were a lot of mistakes made in New York when it came to districting and reviewing maps in the face of nationwide electoral politics and gerrymandering. They were fighting fire with just giving away Republican seats. But yeah, I love this guy. And if the right goes after Elizabeth Warren as Pocahontas, they're going to come up with like they should be coming up with like a terribly anti-Semitic slur fake name for him.
I don't think that they'll ever hold him accountable. It would be interesting to see if the press around him is so bad that they finally just have to, ask him to step down. But I highly doubt that they would ever do that.